What's going on? What's going on, y'all? It's another Monday, and I want to thank you all for joining Inside the Room with myself, State Representative Brandon McGee, where we discuss politics, leadership, and culture. If you joined us last week, myself and my co-host Shay McCrae of The Takeover here on FUBU Radio, we talked a little bit about Juneteenth and the importance of celebrating our fathers, our Black men, during this Father's Day. But I want to first of all, before I jump into today's conversation, because I really want to spend some time with my special guest, did y'all hear that President Biden signed the new law making Juneteenth a national holiday, a federal holiday? I am so excited about that. And the opportunity to really celebrate Black excellence, celebrate from whence we've come and where we're going. You'll hear more about Juneteenth on another episode in terms of how we can be a bit more directly involved in the overall sort of Juneteenth celebrations. But inside the room, this week, we're dedicating today's episode to men. I know that we just celebrated Father's Day. While my father has passed away some years ago, there are several men in my life who I deem as father figures and mentors, and one of them is on the show today. So not solely because we just celebrated Father's Day, but to me, I also want to hone in on men's health and the importance of their involvement within the Black family structure. So this week, I'm highlighting the challenges facing men, including mental health and physical health concerns, and really spreading awareness on the importance of being physically and mentally prepared to be that great father, that great man. And I have someone that I deem a big brother, a mentor, and he's joining us today to help dissect the importance of men's health awareness and just being a male involved within the family structure. And that's none other than my guy, my fraternity brother, Abdul Rahman Muhammad. He is the founder of My People Clinical Services. As I've mentioned, he's also a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated and the father of 3 amazing children. Also, and correct me if I'm wrong, Abdul, you have one grandson, correct? And so I'm excited that he is here inside the room, y'all. He's joining me and gathering people from all walks of life to stay inside, or rather step inside the room, in efforts to gain perspective on how we can educate and uplift our communities. As always, I want to share a little quote, and then I want to jump in with Abdul here. And I quote, "People of color, particularly African Americans, feel the stigma more keenly. In a race-conscious society, some don't want to be perceived as having yet another deficit." And that is quoted by B.B. Moore Campbell. Abdul, welcome to Inside the Room, brother. It's good to have you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you bringing me on.
Yeah, so I didn't talk about how you are a skilled motivational speaker, spoken word artist, a trainer, a writer, a world traveler, and a host. And you've developed so many different initiatives, specifically around fatherhood trainings, and really just being that sole proponent of understanding the evolution of being a man. You championed what you call the fatherhood monologues and the Dad Initiative. Talk to us a little bit about your journey and why this is so important to you.
Well, I mean, I appreciate you mentioning those things. You know, I became a father when I was 19 years old, and you know, from the moment I became a father, I've been trying to figure out, you know, how to be the best father I could possibly be, how to be the best kind of man that I can be, and I often tell people, you know, the journey of manhood, the journey of fatherhood there's, of course, my father was in my life, and he was a great role model for me. But it doesn't mean that you're going to be a perfect father or a perfect individual. So one of the things I've always tried to do is highlight men, especially Black fathers. And basically all the work that I do has always kind of like leaned in that area. So, when I started my agency, My People Clinical Services, the first program I started was the Father to Father program. Because as a young father, I felt like I needed support, I needed some guidance, I needed information, and I knew that other fathers were possibly dealing with those same situations, and I wanted to be able to be a support to them using the experience that I had as a young father to lead the way.
So talk to me a little bit more before we take a quick break. You had your first child, how old?
I was 19 years old. I was
so you weren't that young.
19 is young. That's incredibly young. Trust me. I mean, I was in college,
Where did you attend school?
I went to Tougaloo College, one of the great historically Black colleges in Mississippi. And
okay.
But I mean, ultimately, it's like one of those things where, when you have a child young, you have to make a decision. It wasn't like I was about to get married at the time. I mean, I thought, you think you're so in love, and then you find out, once you have this responsibility of the child, you're not that in love. And so I put my love into my daughter, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna do the best I can for her. I'm gonna try to be there for her. I'm gonna try to provide for her. I often remember those days when I would go to work and I would work all week, and then I get my check and I would just sign it over to her mother. And that was why, and I felt pride in doing that. I never dodged paying child support or dodged taking care of my daughter. But at the end of the day, I always thought about how, if I would have been a little bit more mature in my choices, her life was more difficult because of the fact that me and her mother didn't stay together. Her life was more difficult because the distance between, once I graduated from college, I moved back to Connecticut, I went to Clark Atlanta for graduate school. But ultimately, space and time really make it difficult on children. And so, I just wanted to make sure that I could do better as I thought about it going forward, And so,
that's what's up.
I didn't want to just keep bringing children into life without having a secure relationship and all of those other things in place as well.
That's what's up. If you're just tuning in to FUBU Radio, you're here inside the room with myself, Brandon McGee, and we're here with Abdul Rahman Ibrahim. Excuse me, Ibn. I always say that. I mess that up. Ibn, and you correct me all the time. So I want to make sure I get that right. Abdul Rahman Ibn,
yeah.
Muhammad is the executive director and founder of the multi-dimensional social service agency, My People Clinical Services, here in the state of Connecticut, and doing some amazing work. Some of that work include fatherhood engagement services, supportive housing for young adults, individual and family therapy, and so many other programs that he's providing to communities throughout the state. So we're going to talk a little bit more with Mr. Mohammed. As soon as we take a break, pay some bills. Y'all keep it locked right here on FUBU Radio. Don't go nowhere. Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Brandon McGee again. You're tuning in to Inside the Room with yours truly, State Representative Brandon McGee. And if you missed the first segment, we're here talking with Abdul. He's also my fraternity brother, might I add. He is one of the distinguished members of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. So some of you who are part of other organizations, it's okay. It is okay. But we started our segment sort of talking about Abdul's personal journey and his commitment as a young father at the age of 19. And the struggles. He didn't really get into the struggles. He gave y'all sort of the real cute story. But I want him to talk really briefly about the struggles that he faced being a young father. And then I want to segue into really talking about the whole sort of man, father person in charge of a family, and the importance of mental health, and the whole body being intact in order to really be that father that we all deserve to be. So, talk to us a little bit about the struggles, man, that you had. I mean, I know there are a lot of young people listening who could probably attest to it, and maybe talk a little bit about the fatherhood monologues that you started.
Well, I mean, everybody knows the struggles. I mean, you don't have enough money, you don't have enough education, you don't have enough time, all the things that children need, and so I mean, what I was always trying to figure out, early on, it was like trying to get back with my daughter's mother. That wasn't working out. Going to work every day and then not being able to go buy sneakers and do all the fun things of a kid anymore because I had the responsibility of taking care of my daughter. I got kidney failure when I was in graduate school, my last semester of graduate school. So, I had moved to Atlanta to be closer to my daughter, but once I got kidney failure, I had to move back to Connecticut because I needed some support from my family, from my parents. And so I moved back home just because, I was in pretty bad shape. Fortunately, I got a transplant from my sister. And, I've been able to kind of pull my life together up here in Connecticut pretty well. But I mean, when I had to move back to Connecticut once again, it was another departure from my daughter, departure from routine, departure from the things that I had promised her that I would be there for and all those things. So that was a very difficult time in my life. And just, when you want to be a person that talks the talk and walks the walk. And in some ways, because of my health, I wasn't able to walk the way that I wanted to.
Let me ask you this. So, knowing that only 3 out of 5 men get annual physicals, over 40% of men only go to the doctor when they think they have a serious medical condition. How did you even know that something was going on and that you really had to take your health serious?
Well, I always tell people I was playing basketball. I used to love to play basketball, and I was running up and down the court, and just out of the blue, I couldn't breathe. I wasn't feeling like my normal self. And I mean, to be honest, just using your statistics you just said, I took about 3 weeks before I went to the doctor. And then when I finally went to the doctor, basically that day they told me I had kidney failure. So it was like, it wasn't no turning back at that point. So I mean, speaking of like what you just talking about, one of the things that I've been working on over the last year is what I call the manhood tree. And the manhood tree is comprised of 10 different initiatives. And one of the initiatives is the Men's Health Forum. It's a forum that is I created primarily, because I was inspired by when Chadwick Boseman passed away from prostate cancer. I was thinking like, prostate cancer, colon cancer, those are 2 things that are preventable. High blood pressure, checking on your cholesterol. These are things that you can do something about. And so I created a forum called the Men's Health Forum, and I'm going to turn it into an app so men will be able to just look on their phone and get all the information so that they can remember to go do at least a yearly physical. Once you get over 45 years old, you should be getting the colon screening. You should be doing the different tests so that you can stay healthy and alive to be here for your community, for your family, and for the ones that you love. So a lot of times, we as a people, we avoid doctors. And a lot of times it's associated with real things that happen, Tuskegee experiment, different things like that. But
there's distrust, right? We found that out during COVID, the amount of people, especially people of color, who just avoided taking the vaccine or getting tested because of those very reasons. But I'm glad you brought that up.
But it's so important for us to start taking more account for our health. When fathers pass away at age 50, that's, children still need their support in their lives. Just because you might have a teenager or someone that's even in their 20s, it doesn't mean that you are at a point where you're totally independent, right? And so when you have additional support, like a father, your mother, whatever, it's good. But in order for that to happen, men have to take care of themselves. So we got to eat right, we got to go to the doctor, you know, and really take care of it, work out and do things like that, you know.
So I'm reading here, 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer. That's crazy. So besides skin cancer, prostate cancer is the most common cancer for men in America. 1 in 41 men will die from prostate cancer in the U.S., which is crazy.
But a prostate cancer test, all you got to do is get some blood work.
There you go.
It's a simple test where you just get some blood work, and they can tell you if you have anything going on. A colon test, instead of getting a whole colonoscopy, you get a Cologuard, and that's just a little test kit you do at home by yourself, and you send it back in, and you can find out what's going on with your colon. And so these are very simple things that we could do to keep ourselves healthy and keep ourselves here.
So I want to back it up a little bit to your monologues. First of all, monologues, not monologues, monologues. First of all, where can we find this information? And can you just talk a little bit more about, I was there when you kicked it off, and it was on the campus of St. Joseph's College, and it was absolutely amazing. All right, a packed auditorium to hear stories from different men of color. But one sort of consistent and common theme throughout it was your love for your family and wanting to be a better person because of. Talk a little bit more about that and the importance of the project that you're working on.
Yeah, so the Fatherhood Monologues was a project that I started off by just asking a number of men that I know to write a story about being a father or being fathered.
Oh wait, that was the one that I didn't participate in.
Yeah, you were one of the guys. I'll get back to you, but I mean, there's still time. So basically, we did those stories. We started off with 10 men, and we told our stories. We videotaped those stories, and since then we've probably added another 8 or 9 fathers to the group. Right now, we're actually working on trying to turn the Fatherhood Monologues into a play. So we're going to start, seeking funding so we can be able to get us a director and get the lighting and all of those different things that could actually take it beyond just a monologue or a monologue, and make it more interactive, really kind of bring a total feel to it. And like I was saying to you before, my hope would be to be able to take it on the road all across the country.
But why? But why is this so important though? Why are you giving your life to this?
Well, the stories of men, of fathers, I think they're important. I think that, like all the things that I'm working on, the real key is, to me, manhood, right? So I do like to talk about fatherhood, but manhood is one of those things that I think often gets lost in the sauce. We forget about how important it is to be a man. What are some of the criteria that we're looking at as a man? And as you move to that journey of manhood, if you're so lucky you become a father. And so I just want these stories and these different initiatives that I've been pushing out here through the Manhood Tree to be able to get out into our community. We also have a group that we do with the Manhood Tree, where we kind of like look at what I call the 6 hoods, boyhood, young adulthood, brotherhood, fatherhood, manhood, and neighborhood, so that we can be able to address some of the past trauma, some of the past issues that we kind of like carry around with us as men, and it prevents us from being able to be the best man that we could possibly be. So, and so all these initiatives, we just put up our first fatherhood poll over at my office, and it's another thing to draw attention to, the importance of fathers. So like a lot of the things I'm doing is just trying to highlight, emphasize, support men and fathers, because I believe that we are crucial to our community. We are crucial to the greatness that our children are able to have. And so we have to highlight those things.
That's what's up. So again, if y'all just joining or tuning in, I'm glad, first of all, that you downloaded the FUBU Radio app. It's a free app to listen in on today's episode. I'm also very excited that all of you have been following me on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and all of the social media platforms, Facebook included, to really chime in on these important subjects that we've been covering over the past year or so. So again, if you're just tuning in to Inside the Room with myself, Brandon McGee, we're having a real conversation with Abdul, CEO, founder of My People Clinical Services. He didn't even talk about one of my favorites, Ice Cream for a Dream, but that could be for another episode. But this is a guy who's committed his life to the overall development of the Black family, the Black male, and giving back to his community. So y'all keep it locked right here on FUBU Radio. Don't go nowhere. We have one more segment, and I don't want you to miss it. What's going on, y'all? Once again, if you are just tuning in, you're missing out on some real good stuff. We have been in conversation with Abdul, just talking about fatherhood, manhood, his commitment to educating our community on the importance of your health, and making sure as men of color in particular, we're paying attention to those signs. But I obviously I'm a little biased. I am a fan of Abdul, and I also appreciate the work that he continues to do, not just in the state of Connecticut, y'all, but throughout this country, giving back to many of our communities, especially communities of color. So as we wrap up this Monday's segment on Inside the Room, I really wanted to take a moment to allow Abdul to share with us any upcoming events you're having. If you want to just remind us the importance of your monologues and when is the next monologue, and if folks can chime in or perhaps even sponsor, give donations toward the cause. And also, how can people remain in touch with you? I know you got an Instagram, you are all over social media. He also has, y'all, this car wash conversation where he literally drives through the car wash and shares some things. But I don't know, Abdul, you talk to the people.
Yeah, so I mean, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Abdul Rahman I Muhammad. You can also check out the Manhood Tree on Instagram, Facebook, My People Clinical Services, Instagram, Facebook. You could also visit our website, www.mypeople-ct.com, or even themanhoodtree.com. If you want to see some of the fatherhood monologues, all of the monologues are on the website. You can see about the Manhood Tree group. You can see about the Men's Health Forum. You can even download it on the website. You could also see the other initiatives that we have on there. And, one of the events that's coming up, it's a few months off, and this is kind of good, is every year we, in collaboration with a number of community-based agencies and the Department of Children and Families, we do what we call the Dad Hero Community Day. And so we're in the planning phases right now, but the date's going to be September 11th of this year. So no matter where you are, if you got some time, come down to Connecticut. We're going to be in Bloomfield, Connecticut at the rec center, the brand new rec center out there on September 11th. We usually do, a lot of stuff emphasizing fatherhood. And then of course it's like a free food fest where you have food trucks from all over the place. And so it'll be all free, all good time. And we would love for people to come out.
Any vegan food?
I'm sure there'll be some bread there you can eat. I'm sure of it. Take a hot dog bun.
Put a little ketchup on it.
Yeah.
But Abdul, for the culture, I think it will be a missed opportunity for me to just not put you on the spot. So I have to put you on the spot. You are a sneakerhead. You love Adidas. You're what For Us By Us is all about. Could you drop a line or two from one of your spoken words or something around fatherhood before we close out?
I'm a Black superhero. My superpower, playing with my kids for more than an hour. I cook breakfast, pack lunch, change diapers, but not that much. Help with homework, wash them up, read them stories, and show them love. I attend PTCs, watch My Little Pony DVDs, RSVP to tea parties. I proudly wear a shirt that reads D-A-D. I work That's right, I have a job and I'm married and in love with my wife. I've dedicated my life to doing what's right. I save the world every day by being a role model to my son, and I know he's not the only one who's watching. So I role model to sons whose fathers neglect to teach. Son, this is how you set, and this is how you shine. If they only knew the value of time and what a little time could do, they could proudly say, I'm a Black superhero too.
As always, y'all, I love y'all. Until next time.